All right. What's up, everyone? Welcome to King Toad Show. I'm your host, Shane, with, as usual, Joe Ball, Matt, and our guest. You want to introduce yourself there, Mr. Guest?
How you guys doing? My name is Novoa. I am the creator of Abandon Your Wings. And it's a pleasure to be on here, guys. Hope you and Chad are doing well.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man. It's Sunday nights, man. Want to talk some comic books. So, we're live, and this is what we do. I just drink my coffee. So we were kind of talking back room a little bit, and we know you're a newer face to the Comics Gate. I assume you consider yourself Comics Gate. If not, it's also fine. I'm not going to discriminate. But so I know for those who don't know you or your project, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh yeah, I am super new. I'm brand new. Yes, I would like to name myself Comicsgate. I'm really am a new artist. I've only been drawing comics for about 2 years. I started back, I guess, late 2017. And Abandon Your Wings is my first comic. My first time writing it. I do everything by myself. And yeah, I'm super happy that people are actually like starting to read it. It's free. It's free to read, right on my website. And so yeah, this Indiegogo is just so that I'm going to try to become a full-time artist. Yeah, I'm looking at the page now. Yeah, there's 7 days left. I might extend it. I'm still super optimistic about it.
Can I ask you a question real quick?
Yes, sir. How are you?
Okay. I didn't want to interrupt you, even though I did. So did you literally just start like drawing 2 years ago, or have you like drawn since you were a kid, or?
Oh yeah. So if I didn't, let me correct myself. I have been drawing since I was a kid. But
well, that's what I was going to say. I was like, if he just started drawing 2 years ago, I feel pretty silly right now because I've been drawing my whole life. And your work looks really good.
Oh, thank you. So I've been drawing since I was a kid. But when I was a kid, I used to draw like stuff like Halo, Metroid, and Warhammer 40K. I was a big fan of. So I was used to drawing like armor and monsters. I really didn't know how to draw people. But I started learning how to draw seriously back in 2014. And up to like 2017, I was just doing fan art. And yeah, so when I started Abandon, I only knew how to draw female characters. So the reason my two characters are female.
Oh, you're
That's
good.
all you really need to know how to draw, anyways.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I went in like not knowing how to do action scenes, how to do backgrounds, how to do male characters, because I'm more of a learn as you go type of person. And so, and again, you don't get better until you go through the experiences. So yeah, I mean, don't feel bad about not being able to, not being able to draw, because I taught. I used to be a teacher, and I used to teach kids, and that was one of the biggest things. Is like, oh, I'll never be good as you. I was like, you don't know that. You just got to keep practicing, and I correlate art with sports a lot because I love football. And I'm like, just because you watch tutorials and you watch football all the time doesn't mean you can go out on the field and throw like Tom Brady.
Yeah, it takes a lot of work to get from A to B, and drawing's like anything else. There's talent helps, but if you don't have talent, it doesn't mean you can't draw. There's steps to get a good result still. And if you follow those steps really well, you can still get a great result, really, no matter who you are.
Exactly. And
Jack Kirby said that too. Oh, sorry.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he's like, anybody could draw comics. If you want to do it, you could do it. Just go draw a comic book. You could do it. And it is a skill. I do agree with Joe about that 100%. Some people are born with it, and some people can learn it and get really good at it.
I think people just have like natural talent, and they have like this kind of a head start, I guess.
Yep.
And so they take things, they get things a little bit easier to them.
Yeah.
Being genetically predisposed is a thing. If you have a family line that draws a lot, you are going to inherit bits and pieces of that over time. If you have artsy people, So it's not untrue. But yeah, it's still feasible even if there's no artistic or creative background in your gene pool.
Right. And I'm just afraid that people are afraid to actually, put their stuff out there. Like, I wasn't afraid for this campaign to fail. I'm super happy people are reading it. I'm looking at the numbers and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so happy people are actually going to my site.
Well, now we got to get some people to that IGG. We need to get some money in his pockets. Look at this artwork. The color's good. The artwor's solid.
Yeah, I was
Even the
going to.
grayscale pages are really nice.
Thank you, guys.
I was going to ask you about that because you have 7 days left. I mean, obviously, you're lacking on the number side of things. Are you going into another 30 days possibly?
I'm 50-50 on it. Because I was looking on Twitter.
Because I know you're new.
Oh yeah.
Because I think that was the thing is, I only heard about you. What was it, like a week ago? I say I was watching Wise Guys when I came across you, and then that's when you said, "Oh yeah, man, I just got into it," and so I think once you get used to the community and the community get used to seeing you, obviously your numbers are going to go up. It's just getting your name out there and getting you going.
Yeah, exactly. And I was looking on Twitter, and everyone was recommending getting a fan base first, so that you don't depend on word of mouth too much. I think Umbrella Guy said that. It's like he started, and he got everything funded in one day. Or I don't know who said that, but yeah, I'm kind of 50-50. Maybe I'll just, if it ends, one side of me is like, just come back maybe in a year or so, build up some a fan base and try again, or test my luck and extend it for 30 more days and see what happens.
Well, here's the catch to all of that is, let's just use Yellow Flash or Umbrella Guy as an example, because I'm cool with both those guys, so I'm not really worried about what I say about them because we're friends.
Yeah.
They made videos multiple times a day for years on end, which is a grind that takes you away from your artwork. So you do have to kind of pick and choose there. Do you want to lose the momentum of the artwork for making videos for years on end? And they're also paying people to do the work for them. They're still shipping and doing all that stuff, but they are not the guys actually drawing and coloring and everything else. So you're take that into account a little bit, that your situation's different and you may be able to draw in more people because of this high-end art and this fun-looking book than you might for doing videos 3 times a day that's eating up all your time and then trying to live stream for 6 hours a night, et cetera, et cetera. It takes so much work to maintain that the YouTube base, which is not a bad thing. Obviously, it does pay off.
Oh man, yeah.
You're talking years down the road and having everybody hate you because you're always like, I got to go do this. I got to go edit this video. I got to go. Like, no matter which way you go, it's going to be sort of an uphill battle. Whereas I try to just sprinkle. Yeah, I try to sprinkle in doing streams, but try to keep my focus on showing my art and pasting my art anywhere I can on Twitter to draw people in that way, because they will take notice over time. And hey, what's up? What's up there, Piper? And I think your book has merit. It looks really good. What's the story on it? Like, what's it about?
Oh, so my webcomic's about sorry, I always put on the spot. I always try to stay ambiguous with it because I don't like spoilers. That's just a personal thing. It's a fantasy story about 2 female adventurers. One of them is an elf named Victoria, who's got a bounty on her head, and she's trying to find sanctuary. She's trying to get away from all the bounty hunters coming after her. And one day she encounters Nafia, my other female protagonist, and they travel the world, and they have to deal with all the insanity that follows them. And so Victoria's trying to find Nafia her way back home, and Nafia's protecting Victoria. But I wanted these two to be like big sisters, a big sister and little sister, where they butt heads all the time. But at the end of the day, they always forgive each other. And Yeah, so it's supposed to be both a serious and also comedic story. I mean, that's how manga kind of usually is, and how real life is. You know, your ups and downs.
Yeah, you got to laugh every once in a while, even when things are terrible.
You can't be so doom and gloom all the time.
Yeah.
And so, like, I grew up with Mortal Kombat and horror movies like Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street. And so I loved all that,
Get Matt
the
excited.
ridiculous carnage of the 80s and 90s. And I feel like we're kind of missing that because everyone's kind of like, oh no, we gotta the whole Puritan age now where we get to be on our, on our best behavior all the time.
Well, and that I think in real life, yes, it's good to have good behavior and act like adults, but in the world of creative fiction, people have to let loose because that's the whole point. I mean, that's why the Japanese in particular, they delegate that to their art, which is the best way to go about it. If you got something to say, if you want to let loose, you let loose at a sporting event, at a wrestling show, in your manga, in your artwork. You don't do it in public. Hey there, call me Mark. Hey, Aaron. And, that's the best way to go about it, really. And you can't restrict people's avenues of release.
Exactly.
To get things out of their system because we don't want to take it out on actual society. Let us just put it in our artwork where it's fun and it's not going to hurt anybody. And we can hopefully see heroes prevail despite odds being against them and all those kind of themes that, don't always work out in real life. We don't want real life in comic books. We get enough real life as it is.
Yeah.
It's not fun. We want to enjoy something.
Call me Mark's going to do a manga?
He might. He's done a few books.
Yes, do it.
Do it.
I want to read it.
Well, he's got what's his project? Something like Not Daredevil coming out, right? And that Tommy Mark's saying.
Yeah, not Daredevil.
He did Not Daredevil. He did the Kim Jong Il Un comic, which looked pretty funny too. I haven't checked that one out yet. But yeah, sorry to cut you off, man. I just agree with you on such things. We can't. We have to restrict ourselves already just so bygones can be bygones in our regular life. So yeah, we need the ability to express ourselves somehow in our entertainment.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And like comics is our form of escapism. And Shane and I were talking about like how YouTube's doing all the censorship now. And it's like we can't, we're kind of restricted and we're getting even more restricted. And so it's like we're kind of losing a piece of ourselves. I just think that's wrong,
Well, I think
Joe, you're the one that was telling me yesterday or day before that they're getting even doing away with cursing and all that on the YouTube.
Like they're demonetizing videos where you don't bleep out the curse words now, or any word that's kind of naughty. So that's luckily I haven't even realized, I haven't thought about it till just now. I'm glad you said something, or else I probably would have said something idiotic later on in the show. It's just
we're small enough to where if we lose a video, it's not demoralizing.
Yeah, it's not going to negatively affect us too badly. But it's just this weird Puritan age of no one having a sense of humor and no one being able to just relax and speak amongst their peers. If you don't want to hear it, don't listen to it. It's pretty simple concept. There's thousands of channels on YouTube, if not millions at this point. There's something for everybody. So I get not wanting like neo-Nazis and stuff on your platform, but at some point you have to stop drawing lines where the goalpost just continues to move to where the content has no ability to be fun.
Did you put the if Piper Adams wanted to come in, we can send her the link as well.
I dropped the link in the Toad room.
Oh, okay.
She should be able to access it if she wants to come in.
Sorry, I know I'm interrupting.
Oh no. Sorry, I was just lost in thought. I do that a lot.
No, I like your book. Looks really good though, man. I mean, it looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, very professional.
Oh, thank you so much, guys.
Well, I was curious because I was looking at it earlier today, and you do have a link here to where you can go actually read chapters.
Yes, sir. Yep.
I didn't know how much of that does that cover. Is that like
Oh
the
yeah.
first
So I've
two
only
like stories, or
yeah.
I'd
So
click on
I've
it if you want me to show off like a couple of the pages, but that's up to you.
sure. Yeah. Yeah. If you definitely want to. Yeah. I've only done 2 chapters so far. I finished chapter 1 last year, and I finished chapter 2 I think last November. Oh no, last February. I have a timeline on my website too, because I always forget stuff like that. Um, and so yeah, I really wanted to get to chapter 3, and that's why I'm super excited for this Indiegogo. Um, because I've learned so much since chapter 2. And I was talking when I was talking with Wise Guys, I told them that I guess I told you guys too that when I was learning as I went along with chapter 1. You can tell which pages I started with and which ones I kind of ended with, because there's such a drastic change in some pages. I jumped around a lot, so I didn't work on page 1 on chapter 1 first. And I could always go back and like fix up my art, but like I told this to my students, you don't go back. You just got to keep moving forward, because you're going to become a perfectionist, and you'll never get anywhere if you keep fixing your old art.
Yeah, you'll just waste a lot of time. It's at some point you just have to call it a day and move forward with things. And I mean, I've looked at some early artwork I've done for some projects and not been too thrilled about certain aspects of it, but I'm like, I'm not going to change it. Like, what's the point? Let people see what it looked like 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's how. Oh, sorry.
Do you
Go
still have
ahead, you're
your
good.
submissions from like 2000? Do you still have all your submissions from like 2002 and stuff?
I've got them all saved on
Yeah,
discs.
what was it? It still wasn't that bad for back in the day. I'm trying to think what we used to pitch to, like back in the day, the Marvel and DC.
No, we got pretty
Was
good
it Top Cow?
response. Yeah, Top Cow got back to
Yeah.
us. I actually got better responses from my old work than I ever did from my new work. So I don't really know what that means, but they
Well,
they
that was
all
before
liked me
everything
a
was
lot
changing in
better.
the industry. Yeah.
True.
How much criticism do they give you
Witchblade.
guys? Like,
That was it.
These days hardly any, because they don't take hardly any submissions. But like back in I'd say me and Shane started working together seriously right about 99, 2000, like somewhere in that range. And by 2002, we had sent out tons of submission packs, because we were sending the same pack to multiple companies. And we would get response letters from CrossGen. We would get response letters from Top Cow and Image. We didn't get much back from Marvel and DC, but also too, sometimes the addresses had changed over time. So like sometimes packages would just get returned, but we would get relatively good feedback. Basically, they would print like their standard no letter, but they would put a few handwritten notes on it, like work on this, work on that. Here's what's good. Here's what's bad. You know, it wasn't like here's all the bad. They would kind of try to give you the best of both sides. And we were relatively friendly with some of the editors at Top Cow, but those guys, you know, they all started to move on by like 2010, 2011 to just other endeavors, because they were seeing this stuff kind of take place before it had even reached the rest of us. You know, I saw the writing on the wall probably right about 2015. I knew it was getting really bad. Me and Shane could even tell, because we owned a comic book shop in 2010. We were like, these super events, all these books that we're told by critics are going to be huge are just sitting here. Like nobody wants them. You know, we're ordering 10 copies of Final Crisis, which is not that many to begin with, and we were lucky if 2 of them were moving. And I mean, we went nuts. We had that store stocked with just about every mainstream book that was on the market from the top, 12 or 15 publishers. We gave people huge varieties of stuff to choose from, and it was work to get them to buy one comic book over a pack of Magic cards, over an action figure, over a video game, because we gave them all the options. You can't just rely on comics anymore.
yeah,
But
wow.
we're in a golden age now. It's kind of like when you see the feds bail out like airline companies. You go, no, let the airline companies fail. They're failing for a reason because they suck at their job. Let them fail, and people that actually care about airplanes and quality customer service will take their place and give you something better. They will be replaced. It's how economics have always worked, and we're in that phase in comic books now where the big companies are dying off because no one's going to subsidize them. Even the people that own them, Warner Brothers and Disney's like, yeah, no, we're not going to subsidize this trash. So when you've got multi-billion-dollar corporations that won't even bail out their own small presses, which are huge presses by our standard, it tells you that that's a good thing, because it's giving the ability for us to fill the hole that they're leaving behind. And in terms of manga, they're definitely taking up a lot of that space and coming in and filling that gap in a big way. And it's good because the Japanese have a high standard, and I respect them probably more than any other creatives on planet Earth. And you're in the perfect spot for that, man. Your book looks good. We just got to get more eyeballs on it, because it's something that bare minimum the manga crowd and the comic book crowd that crosses into that will like this.
Oh, thank you so much, John. And it's like,
I feel bad coming or just now finding out about you. Like, I feel bad, just now finding out towards the end of your first 30 days about the campaign.
Oh no, don't worry about it. It's kind of my fault because I haven't really been promoting it as much. Because of like this November, I've been having a lot of mandatory overtime at work, because I actually have a 9 to 5 too. I think most of us do. So it's really hard to find time to work on art, to promote, to try to make videos. I'm also trying to do YouTube as well. That stuff is crazy. And yeah, it's like I was also kind of skeptical with putting myself out there a little bit with Comicsgate, because I was kind of afraid that Comicsgate was just American comics and not manga. But then when I started looking into it, I'm like, shit, I'm drawing a blank. Blade Devil.
Yeah.
People love Blade Devil, and then I saw the other manga creators. I'm like, oh my god, okay. Maybe I can throw my hat in the ring and see what happens. And I do want to reach out to those guys.
It's clean.
Yeah.
Go
reach out to RGB, because he is or RGE, Raging Golden Eagle. He is a very polite individual that wants people to succeed. Yeah. He wants people to do well, and bare minimum, his audience, when they see this, they will get you to a point where you can print and publish and have a little money left over, probably. And they're very forgiving in that manner, that when they see something fun that is attractive to them, such as your book, I can see it doing pretty good, honestly. Better than any Western style comic.
Oh, nowadays, yeah. But I always know my art can get better. And yeah, I got my fingers crossed. I'm just so happy people are actually reading it after so long, because it was a long year where I've had the website up and it's like, no one's going. And I'm still learning. I'm still learning how to promote and do all this too.
This is my first year doing all this.
Yeah, you've got a good bit of content, man. Just keep at it, because you've got more than enough to keep reprinting what you've already got while you're in the process of getting new things ready. So, juice what you've got existing for all it's worth right now. You can keep repackaging this stuff in 100 different ways down the road.
Yeah, and it's crazy because there's so much I want to do, but there's only 24 hours in the day. And it's like,
yeah.
And I got to be careful with social media, because I go down this rabbit hole where 3 hours go by and I'm like, I watched one video and I watched another video and it's like, oh my God, the half day's gone.
Yep.
And then I have to go to work, man. And it's like, oh God. But I'm also introverted, so it's like trying to make new friends is very difficult for me. I'm like, I'm just gonna go back and draw, and then I'll do it later. And then later never comes.
Well, it's kind of good doing that research though, like watching other people's channels. That way you get used to their personalities and know what to expect if you do go on their shows. Some people might be more extreme than others. Some might be more
Oh, yeah.
chilled. You know, some shows, like, you know, if you get like a show where, you know, the chat's like crazy, you know, where they got like, you know, 200 something views at a time. So you also got the chat, you know, talking to you, maybe even criticizing you. You gotta get used to that.
Oh yeah.
And
you just gotta take it. You know, it's not. I mean, you don't have to,
Yeah.
but you know,
you
it's just
must.
fun. Kind of. That's how they kind of joke around a little bit.
Am I showing too many pages? You want me to stop?
Oh no, you're good, man.
Okay.
I forgot to mention that my website has all the high res images, so it's like I didn't realize it was killer for people who didn't have really good internet, because my internet's pretty above average, and I didn't realize that until like a few months ago when someone mentioned it to me. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, and it's something I can't really fix because then I would have to like export all it, and when I export it, because I use screen tones, it gets really complicated where it'll create this noir effect where it completely destroys the whole page.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like a chore in itself just to get the page to look right.
Well, in this day and age, they just about anybody with a cell phone should be able to get through some high def pages, even if they have to move a little slow when they do it. You know, like I've got what's considered good internet in my area, even though compared to some others, it's just in the middle. And even my phone, you know, on Verizon's barely 2-bar signal. I can scroll high res pages with pretty much no trouble at all at this point. So
okay.
Yeah. I mean, it might be an issue for some people, but I would assume safely that that's a very small minority of people. And you know, they can buy the print. What's better than the print?
That's
Yeah.
true.
That's as high def as it gets, and there's no load time.
I'm just super worried about ruining the reader's experience because it should always be perfect. It's like going into a movie. You don't want to be disturbed. You don't want people talking. You just want it to be so smooth and perfect.
Yeah. Well, you know, that'll come in time. It's we all have high expectations of what we want and what we do, and sometimes we just have to live with the reality of situations that it's just not going to pan out that way for every single person, unfortunately. But you know, some people say my artwork's hard to look at because there's too many lines, and I'm like, yeah, well, just squint your eyes harder. What do you want from me? It's still pretty cool.
It's like the colorist nightmare. They just see your work, they're like, oh shoot.
Where do I start?
not a Joe Ball piece.
Well, you know, it's one of those things where it's like I've already done most of the work for you, colorist. So, in all fairness, the flats should only be the hard part. The rendering should actually be pretty easy because I've already hatched and shaded the stuff into being an almost black page. There's not much left for you to do after a little bit, but I have colorist issues if you guys can't tell, and it's not because my expectations too high. It's because all the good colorists have disappeared to other industries, and it's very difficult finding people that excel at coloring. You know, a early 2000s like Top Cow kind of style of coloring. They just don't exist any longer. They all got way better jobs in video games and graphic design and things like that. So it's like, I color a page for $50, or I can, you know, do some graphic design stuff that takes me 45 minutes and make a couple $1,000. You know, the options are pretty clear at that point, what you're going to go with.
Oh, yeah. Technology's getting a lot better, so doing stuff like the 3D design gets a lot easier than coloring a whole page.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It does. You can sit there and make a 3D model in a day and make way more money than you're going to make coloring comic books. Now, the standard is going up, though. I think that's the thing. If you color well, you are extremely valuable in the modern age. So you can still make some good money. I know if me and Shane could get someone to color death at a high level, we would have no problem paying that person for a high level of color. But we've got to see that result in order to justify that pay scale.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. You know, that everything's going better for colorists.
Yeah.
What about
Yeah, well, there's
inkers?
high demand. It's the best colors right now are almost all exclusively coming out of the East. They're coming out of Indonesia and Malaysia and places like that where
Wow.
you can pay them a decent wage and they might as well be rich. And when you're coloring beside a chicken in your hut, $100 for a page is an uncanny amount of money. So.
Yeah.
Because I've talked to,
True.
I've worked with a colorist, and it took everything in her power to save up and learn from like public computers and stuff how to color. She eventually got a MacBook and a tablet, and she was still literally living in like a hut with some real basic plumbing and real basic electricity. And she thought she was rich. And it's like, yeah, by your standard, you are. And I'm glad you are. That's the whole point of capitalism in America. We are the best at creating wealth on this entire planet, and we're the best at sharing and spreading that wealth out with everyone else. If you're good, we pay you to do things. We give you our money, and our money's worth a lot. So
That's an amazing story.
Yeah,
She was able to afford a tablet.
it took her a while to get there, but she could, and she's one of the best colorists out there right now. She commands incredible prices because she is so good. Like I even remember telling her she worked on some stuff on Super Harem, and I saw what her expensive art looked like, and it was so good. I'm like, yeah, girl, keep charging up. Like this is too good to be charging $50 and $60 a page. You're doing $150 page colors here. And she has her inexpensive style, and she has her super expensive style. And now her family is comfortable. It's a great thing to see how well people can do with a little hard work and a little ingenuity, and just making their way up in this world. And here in the United States, we're willing to pass cash to whoever will do the job the best. I don't think most of us even care anymore where you're from. I don't. Nope. As long as you can communicate with me, that's all I care about.
Yep.
The only thing stopping you is you and your imagination.
Yep. Well, that and with the CG growing, man, there's a demand for the other talents as well. Like letterers. There's not too many letterers that's going around. I'm sure like Adam and a couple others, like they're
there's 2 or 3 guys. There's Eric Weathers, there's Adam AF, and there's Phil Diaz, maybe Phil. 1 or 2 other people. And that's
Phil looks good too. I seen his work on Doom Fate. Yeah, looks pretty cool.
His Lost page is to be hitting my doorstep here in a couple days.
Yeah.
Did he letter that, or did he have somebody else letter that?
I think he lettered a good bulk of it, but don't quote me on the entire thing. I don't know if he lettered the entire
like he heard me or something. There he is.
Speak of the devil.
He's always say his name 3 times and Phil appears.
Oh, Joe's here. Edwin's here. Hey guys, how you doing? Sorry, I just started looking at chat.
I was gonna say something about Phil's genetic makeup, but I'll leave it alone.
So what's the plan for this? Are you having like an ongoing? Is there so many chapters that you're planning on doing with this project, or?
Oh yeah. So like I said, my webcomic's free, so I planned on making every single chapter free from this point forward. And yeah, all it is just time now. I mean, because for me to get chapter 3 done, I would need to be a full-time artist. Because right now, when I was working on chapter 2, it took me 2 to 3 days to do 1 page. I'm a very slow drawer, and I do everything by myself. So, and I only have off.
That's the page I was looking for.
Oh, that one.
That's sweet.
Yeah, I saw it earlier today. I was like, oh, here we go.
But yeah. So that was one of my golden rules, is that I always wanted my stuff to be free for people to read. Because I went through some dark times, and manga and anime were there for me during those times. So I kind of wanted to reflect that and help someone else who might have gone through that same situation or is going through that same situation. And yeah, so I would never charge someone, and that's just me personally. I'm not saying anyone who who does otherwise is bad or anything.
Well,
Those
your reasons are admirable. The only thing I would suggest, and you can take it or leave it, obviously, is make it free after print
Oh yeah.
rather than prior, because it's like it's kind of like even if you offer like digital versions on a campaign, it can really hurt the bottom dollar unless you're charging the exact same amount for the digital as the print. So it's but the other thing you face then is people feeling like why am I paying for something if what's the value of my dollar if it can just be given away. So you've got a few different things you have to look at there from a customer perspective as well. It's admirable. I'm not saying you're wrong, and it's your creation. Do whatever you want with it. I would never dare tell you what to do.
Oh yeah, you're right as well. And my family told me the same thing. They're like, "Oh, you do such good work. You should really charge for it." And like I started all this before I even knew about Comicscape. I just wanted,
wanted to get your work
out there. Yeah, and since I'm so still new at it, a part of me was kind of like, I don't want to charge someone for something I'm like, I am giving my 100%. I don't know how to word this without making fun of myself. But it's like I know I can get better, and I kind of feel bad charging people for it.
Does that make sense? Charge people. I understand. No, your work's beautiful. You should share it with the world, but you should charge for it as well. People would they just need to know about it. They'll gladly back this, man. You should be proud of yourself.
Yeah, man. I'd like to see more of these type of books show up in CG, to be honest, because we don't have too many of like the manga and anime kind of style stuff floating around in CG right now. I can think a handful maybe. So there's a market there for it.
The luxury you have is people that buy manga or like manga typically like it on their shelf.
Yep.
So you have the advantage of you can give it away and probably still do pretty well for yourself because the bulk of people are going to want a copy they can hold in their hand, even if they did read it free. And that's the thing, like even despite what I just said, like it hurt Napster more, or it hurt the music industry more to go after Napster than it did to just leave them alone, because there is advantage in letting people be able to sample and check something out and see what they think of it. Even though full albums were up there, it was still helping drive album sales. So it's one of those things where I think it just depends on the product simultaneously. It can, and in your case, you might be 100% right, dude. You might be able to give this away and still make buku bucks off of it once it just gets in front of some people.
Oh, yeah. I don't think there's a right way or a wrong way.
Well, even if say you're passionate about this and you're not looking to charge for it, but the good thing also I've come to realize with CG is there's still plenty of work for you out there. Even if you don't want to do a whole book, you can always once people get to know your name, they might hire you for a trading card or a print or cover. So I mean, I'm guilty of it. I mean,
there's other ways to make your money, basically. Yeah,
different avenues and all. But I was kind of thinking of like the YouTube model where the videos are free, but through like help through donations and tips keeps the creator going. But I'm not super fixated on money. I tell this to my brother all the time. Like, I would prefer to stay underground and do what I love without like any drama or anything than be like super rich and yeah.
And
just like
spoiler, this guy's dead. Spoiler.
Oh, the page is loaded.
Got a boo boo.
He's okay.
I
It's
love
just an eye wound.
I get that. My priority for me personally is making money right now more than anything.
Me too, man.
I've got babies and bills and all kinds of stuff. So
you're preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
I live paycheck to paycheck, so yeah, anything more than my what I'm making is like a godsend. And I kind of feel bad that I did set the price really steep for the Indiegogo. but that was like the minimum for me to do this full time.
No, your prices are not bad at all, dude. Your prices are totally fair, totally reasonable. Yeah, for IGG products, for small print run, special edition style products, you're right there with everyone else, and you're offering way more content for the same price. So yeah, don't worry about that at all. Your prices are completely fair.
Oh, that makes me feel a little bit better because I saw like some other ones that are like only 500 as a goal, and I'm like, should I have done that?
It's algorithm.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, they're trying to mess with the algorithm with Indiegogo when they launched for the first few days. If you put 500 as your goal, then they're gonna, and you exceed that goal, then Indiegogo is gonna promote you on their main page, and you're gonna get more eyes on your product. But
wow, really?
That point, yeah. So setting the goal low is you can do the goal wherever you like. But setting it low is just to help you be able to go in demand and beat the algorithm. I was talking more about the prices of your actual book and your package options, which are all more than reasonable.
Oh yeah, I was just following the crowd.
Yeah, if you wanted, you could set your goal at like $50, just so you can go in demand as soon as the 30 days is up.
$5.
That part's kind of irrelevant.
I don't think you can go. I don't think you can go lower than 500, right?
No, I think it's 500.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You can set your goal at $3, man.
3 pesos.
3 pesos.
Yes, sir.
Hey, that's a loaf of bread in Mexico.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, for sure, bro.
But yeah, I mean, this is instead of me doing like a GoFundMe, and I also want a physical copy of my own book myself. I'm like my biggest fan of my own work, and also the biggest critic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to give back to the fans, to the limited amount of fans I have, while also trying to jumpstart my career. And I love drawing.
You're on the right track, dude. It looks really good so far. At least the talent and the artistic integrity is there, and you can't ask for much more of a starting point than that. It's hard enough to do good work. So you got the hardest part out of the way. You can do good work.
That means the world to me to hear that. I'm very bad at expressing my feelings, so I apologize. But yeah, that really does mean a lot to me, guys. Thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome, brother. I'm used to complimenting myself.
When we did the Mothman. Oh, sorry.
Oh, and congratulations, Shane, too, on Mothman.
I set the Mothman at 3,000 just to kind of help push myself, I guess. Yeah, man. Yeah, we hit funding. I mean, I thought about doing it lower than the 3,000, but I knew if I did, once I hit that goal, you do kind of you loosen up a little bit, and you don't get the same drive as like, oh man, I gotta get this to this number, or it ain't gonna happen. So you push yourself with that, with those numbers to get on the streams, to promote like hell on Twitter and everything else, talk to whoever you can. So.
Dude, I don't know how you guys do it.
Definitely helps.
I can barely find time to work on my own stuff, much less all the live streams and everything. You guys are amazing.
We're miserable people.
Yeah, we're horrible. Curmudgeons. I'm just like, what are you talking about, Matt?
Our families can't stand us. It's pretty simple formula. You just ignore everyone around you and
just draw in the corner,
whether they like it or not. So
there's a reason. There's a reason Shane keeps going single every time I do a project with Joe Ball. I swear, it's like, oh, Shane's single.
I'm the girlfriend. Yeah, dude. I mean, this
takes a lot of time.
This girl you got coming up, she's screwed. She ain't got a chance.
Nope.
You're on girlfriend like number 10 in the last like 6 years. Yeah, she ain't got a chance.
Yeah, especially when we're getting to the death stuff. I think we'll have time, man. We'll have time for bullcrap.
Do you mind if I show a little preview image real quick?
Death, huh?
Let's see.
Let me
I gotta see this.
Yeah, let me adjust my camera settings to make sure it's facing the right way. Okay, I believe it is.
Oh, did we lose him?
I think he's setting up his camera. Oh, I can't wait, man. That's like one of the. I love that property. Death.
Yeah, man. He's been working on it on the side. It's looking nice.
Yeah, his art's really. He's got his own style, man. It really sticks out. You know, like he didn't. No one looks like Joe Ball. I've seen a lot of his old stuff too, that you guys were referring to from back in the submission days you were talking about. That shit's fucking awesome too. Just as good and a totally different style too. But I like them both.
And everything was so much slower back then too. Like, I say when we first started doing this in 2002. Oh, add to stream. Here he comes. Oh.
Apologies, I hit the wrong button.
Shit.
Oh yeah.
No, I figured. Yeah.
That's
damn.
That's sick, bro.
The shadows are crazy.
Dude, that'd be a sweet tat, bro. Right on the shoulder.
I mean, it'll be a pile of mud after like 2 years, but yeah, go for it. So yeah, thank you. I'm getting far more artsy fartsy with the way I'm starting to do things. Like, yeah, there's like the original cover I had in mind was very typical. All the characters kind of standing there. And I was like, I'm just so tired of doing this kind of stuff. Doing pictures of dudes just standing. Like, it's boring. Even though it's 90% of the comic book covers that have existed for years now. But yeah, I'm trying to get a little more. The themes have always been out there with this book, but I want the art to actually represent the weirdness of the themes a little better. So I'm trying to do.
Well, the good thing about this,
sweet, man.
Yeah, this picture, it kind of gives you a little bit of the story itself,
Yeah, you get the feel of what you're getting into.
And you could stare at it for a minute, dude, and like kind of tells its own story. I mean, obviously you say what you're getting into, but man, that'd be an awesome like album cover or a video game cover or even a movie cover, a comic cover. Like, seriously, my brain just sees all of that. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, great job, man.
Even more pumped up.
It's my baby project, so I've got really high hopes for it. I don't really doubt that it will do well. Like, I'm pretty confident in it, but that's mainly because it's something I've been playing with and working on and working out the kinks on for quite a while now, which is kind of rare for me because usually on ideas I have, they're not like, I'm not one of those people where I'm like, yes, this is something I've had in mind since I was a child. Generally, the ideas I had as a child were stupid and not worth trying to do something with down the road. Like, I've worked with a few guys before CG was a thing that were like, yeah, this is an idea I've had ever since I was 12. And they're like in their late 30s. And I'm like, yeah, I can tell it's an idea you've had since you were 12 because it's retarded. And it's low quality and it's dumb. You need to refine it for your age, or you need to come up with something better. Like, pick one or the other. Either make it better or scrap it and come up with something better. And this is one of the few things I had a very loose idea for, I'd say maybe like 5 or 6 years ago. I never really did much with it outside of, it was a really loose concept. And the last like 2 or 3 years, I was like, I know there's something special here. I just gotta take all the things I love, infuse a little bit of that into it, and then give it my own twist, my own touch.
Well, I remember when we had the second shop. You came in one day with like the notebook, and you sat down like, Shane, what do you think of this story? Yeah, and you were like on it, man. For like, so you've been developing this for at least 3 years?
Yeah,
on and off.
Well, it went from being like, it started off a little too sci-fi, even though it would fall into that realm ultimately if you were to give it like a genre type, and it got, I don't know, man. I being a Christian man, I got more into the idea of using religious ideas and religious symbolism. And I really like the idea of making people uncomfortable without knowing why. You know, like when there's nothing gruesome happening, but you're uneasy about what you're looking at or reading. You know, it's not that it's graphic or it's disgusting. It's that you're seeing things put together that don't always seem like they should go together, or
unnerving.
Unnerving things. I really wish I could illustrate sound better. Like I've been trying really hard to find ways to illustrate sound, because sound is such a big part of how I see this and hear this. Because I originally wanted it to be an animated project, but animation's a whole nother monster to jump into. And I ran that by some people, but the consensus seemed to be we want to see the comic book. So I'm like, we'll focus on the comic first, and then we'll cross that animation bridge at a later time when it's we can afford probably to make it a little better and put full resource into it and not have to be running by the skin of our teeth on the entire thing.
Yeah,
but I want my
I don't know how many people. Yeah, I don't know how people know this, but yeah, we're going like as soon as Mothman's done. I mean, most of our funding for that is going right into Death, getting it pretty much going with the. I mean, I don't know if I should say too much, but we have tested Colorist on some pages, so we're going right into Death campaign.
Oh, that's awesome.
There's been a lot of demand for it the last year and a half, because now once people knew about it, and it's you want to jump on the hype while it's there. If we wait too much longer, it's gonna slip from people's minds, and it's definitely something worth pursuing.
The time has come for death to rise.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And I think it's something we can print manga size, digest size. We can print it Western style comic. Like it has that option to it, and we can print it black and white, and it's going to be just as good if it was in color. So we can cater to almost every audience here, because I've been influenced by all that stuff. I've been influenced by Evangelion, Akira, X-Men, from the west to the east to everything in between. I mean, I'll just sit and wonder at some of these guys that just do they just do sci-fi art. There's no story, there's no nothing. It's just weird art. And I'll look at these guys on Instagram, and I'll just be mind blown. I'll see.
That's the best thing. Like I know I'm a dork, and I like going to libraries and bookstores. But man, if you go there and you look for them old school books, man, there's the old covers, old sci-fi covers.
Yeah,
it's the best fucking art, man.
Those paintings.
Yeah, man.
They're wild. Let me ask you guys something. In terms of Comicsgate and the customers, is color super important to a product? I know there's the manga, the manga scene's always black and white. But I'm a big fan of Jason Bascom, who did Absolute. Behind me somewhere, but hell, man, I actually prefer his work. I don't know if I'd really want it colored.
I think it's down the middle right now. I think when things started out, because the expectation was a 90s through early 2000s style of Western comic book. So in a nutshell, a Top Cow comic book, a Witchblade, a Darkness. People were expecting that type of look. And I think that has moved on a little bit now, because we've realized that there are tons of great indie books. There are tons of great things throughout the history of comics that we kind of forgot about till people like Ethan, or people like just other comic book guys, cartoonist kayfabe, those dudes. They're bringing the light back onto all these great kind of things that they were great after the fact, because just not many people knew about them at the time. I mean, Cerebus, despite Dave Sim kind of being a terrible human being, let's just take that out of the picture for a minute and focus on the artwork he created and the team he had on Cerebus. That book was black and white, and it was absolutely beautiful. It was insane, and it was the highest selling comic in the indie scene in its time. The dude would pull up to conventions in a limo, pay for everyone's meals. I mean, he was loaded. Wow. And it was all based off of a black and white comic book. And a lot of people just, we forget, because the time has kind of passed in the late 70s and the 80s when that kind of stuff was booming. But with the advent of manga being so accessible in the United States now, and it's not something you just have to go to little anime shows and get-togethers of super fans to find. I think there's a new appreciation for black and white, for grayscale, all that kind of stuff, because we're now that DC and Marvel are dying, it's just giving us a chance. You know, our attention is not stuck on Batman. It's not stuck on color comic books. So I think it's totally up to the person. Whatever you make, if people like it, they're going to like it, whether it's in color or not. I'd say maybe color the covers. And even that, I'm getting to a point where I'm like, you know, well, does it even matter there either? Like, I've seen some badass covers that were literally just black, and the name of the book, like, there's nothing else there, and it looks good. So,
yeah, I'll get Jason's book real quick.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I asked because, like, I know a few people who are like, oh, I would never, you know, pick up a manga, because they grew up with comics, and like I grew up with Berserk, which is a well-known manga that even people
one of the
in America read, because it's been around since the 90s. And so it's like, should I have waited? Because I color all my own stuff, so should I color my own pages? And it's like, no, I could probably just put all that effort into the next chapter and continue my story.
Yeah, on your interiors, they hold up just like any other manga. I personally would not worry too much about it. If you're talking the time you have to work in, save your time where it's needed most.
So I don't know. I like. Yeah, Jason's black and whites are just.
Yeah, awesome. Look at that cover. That would get your attention if you're walking by a rack or a newsstand.
Oh, yeah, like I say, I think it just depends on how you do it, you know?
Yeah, composition and everything, yeah. Wow.
So I think it just depends on how you go about it.
So from cover to cover, it's all black and white?
Yep.
Oh, that's sick.
He's got an alternate cover as well, which I like this one a lot. Simple images, but it just stands out. Like, you notice that in a comic book store, I think.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Cool thing about black and white is too, like, just on a primal level, you know, I know when I'm reading a black and white book, I start to imagine the colors in my head involuntarily. Yeah. And it's kind of addictive in a way because you get to control the colors in your mind to a certain, or at least your mind does. And when a book's colored, you know, you have no free reign over that. It's very in a way too. It's I don't know, man. It's just very liberating to see it like that.
Well, Navoa, you would agree with this, being a Berserk fan. Have any of the Berserk covers or made for Netflix specials or even the animated series, have any of them lived up to the expectation of what's inside of those pages that have zero color at all?
No, the stories themselves blow my mind. And like, even the very first cover, I didn't know what to expect until you start reading the actual, you know, the first chapter.
Yeah, it's one of those books where color actually hurts it every time someone tries to add color to it. It never works because we already have mental images. We already have the flow of the book and the way we see it like a film. That I honestly don't know if it's possible to have Berserk be color and for it to ever look as good as it does already. Like, even if they made a film of it, like Robert Rodriguez style at Sin City, I think he would have to keep it pretty authentic to the comic book and have very little color for it to actually still feel right and to feel good.
Yeah, well, Berserk's kind of cursed when it comes to everything outside of manga. Like, the latest is 3D models they've been using. Or I haven't really kept in touch with it, but oh my god, it was awful looking. It was so upsetting.
Berserk is literally cursed. I mean, it's the theme of the whole book, so it's fitting that it manifests in real.
Oh, true, yeah.
And then you even look at like Bernie Wrightson's like his Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, and that's a book I've been trying to get like low key on the side for years, and really? I think that's his life work. He was working on that for like 7 to 10 years in between projects with DC and Marvel, and you put color on that, it just destroys the imagery, you know. I think that his work alone, it just coloring it just kind of ruins it personally. The Bernie Wrightson stuff.
How that works, yeah. Because like there are examples of things that wouldn't be the same without color,
Mm-hmm.
And then there's I don't know, it's just different from project to project, man. But in terms of your book, Navoa, I think what you're doing right now is great. It's got a flashy cover, it's bright, it's in your face, and then you've got these really nice grayscaled manga pages on the inside. I don't think you need to necessarily change anything or cater any differently. In fact, I think that might hurt you in the future, being that the core audience you're going to end up grabbing once it gets in front of some more manga fans are
okay.
not.
I gotcha.
Yeah, they want what they know to some degree. The manga wouldn't be selling like hotcakes if people wanted it in color.
Yeah, that's crazy how manga's like changed over the last decade. Because like when I was in school, you got ragged on if you liked anything from Japan. They bullied the hell out of you. And like nowadays, it's like cool. And I think it's partly because of streamers or YouTubers and all. Once someone popular likes it, then it becomes popular itself.
Well, you quit caring much about what people think when you realize there's actually a huge group of people that all agree that something is high quality and it's good. And for anyone to doubt the Japanese is pure insanity. And I can say that going all the way back to the 80s. They even their bad products are still better than our best products. So, well, that tells you a lot right there in itself.
They're hardworking people.
Well, yeah. What do you do in a country where everything's been done?
Right.
Literally everything. I mean, me and Shane were talking one day. He goes, "There's a character in this manga that just has strings that come from their fingers, and it's badass." I was like, I know, it's weird. And someone said, let's just have string as his weapon, literal string. And somehow they take the most simplest, novel, basic bitch things and they make it amazing and they make it great. And that says a lot about the creative minds of people that are raised with art as part of their society.
Dude, they're just crazy, man.
Yeah.
They're just crazy.
That's why competition is so important. Let's go ahead, Shane.
Oh, sorry, good.
Yeah, that's why competition and rivalry are so important. Oh, is there a lag?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
It's probably me because I keep bringing up things on here and it just slows my stuff down. So you're all right. It's me. But I like the Demon Slayer is about what I've been watching here recently. And just seeing all the different kind of demons they come up with for that show, it's crazy. Because the funny thing is they can have like so much weird humor in the animes, but then come with like the creepiest images at the same time. So even though their childish animes can give you nightmares. You're like, one minute you're kind of laughing, like, this guy's pretty stupid. And then there's like a demon running with its head backwards, and like this one I watched, its teeth rotated like in its mouth. Like, I don't know how to explain that. Like a saw almost. I'm like, what the hell is this? It's just crazy stuff they come up with. I don't know, man. They're very imaginative people.
Yeah, have you guys ever heard of Junji Ito?
Oh,
Yeah, his stuff. He makes horror manga, and oh my god, it's exceptional what he has done. Of course, they butchered it when it became an anime, but yeah, that stuff is nightmare fuel.
That's another case of it just didn't translate the same to a different medium. It just didn't have the same effectiveness, and a lot of that's too is because the animators just didn't do things like he did. Whether it was just something as simple as a family sitting around the table. Like, he knew how to illustrate each person at that table's face to fit the scene to make you uncomfortable. And the show would make it like a normal family. It's like, no, you can't do normal. You got to make everything awkward for it to work.
Yeah, they missed the whole cue of the creepiness and the eerie setting that he set.
Yeah. Yeah, he's another. I put him up there with Bernie Wrightson because there's not many people that can really creep you out with artwork in a way to where every time you go back and look at it, no matter if you've seen it 1,000 times, you still get uneasy. We get dulled to things, and I've even noticed that with nostalgia. I will start buying Transformers again, and all of a sudden they don't feel like this cool thing I grew up with. They're just Transformers again because I've been looking at them for too long.
Dude, so I know the feeling.
Break from it. Where with his manga, you can go back and reread those stories 100 times, and they are still make you squirm and make you uncomfortable and make you think of the what ifs or the terrible situations. Like he has this one where, because he did a lot of short stories too. They weren't long. Where a guy goes into a hospital for a medical exam, but they have to like hook your head into this thing to keep it still. But then something happens to the doctors and everyone, and he's just stuck there. And the whole short story is him trying to squirm and get out of this thing that has his head stuck in place, and he's losing his mind. And you're losing your mind watching him lose his mind. It's very interesting.
Yeah, a lot of his horror centers around not being able to escape the fear, or like something happening internally where you can't run away from it. And it's kind of like the slashers, like with Michael Myers. You can never run away from him, but he took it to that extra extreme.
Yeah, even his use of shapes. Like, okay, I'm gonna make a shape scary. Like I've always admired that about the Japanese. They can go, how do we make just a shape creative? And Evangelion did that great with some of the angels. They weren't literal characters. It would just be a giant shape or a black shadow. It would be something hard to apply life to. And they would find ways to do it. And it's so impressive. It makes me work all that much harder. I think it makes us all work harder when we see those kind of things. Like you said about competition, when you see people that creative and that smart, it's frustrating, but it's a good kind of frustrating, because it's like, damn it, I got to figure out how to live up to that expectation, because the whole world knows this stuff exists now. Japan's not secluded anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Their product is worldwide. It's global. So now everybody else knows this too. So now I'm competing with the Japanese plus the rest of the planet, because the rest of the planet has access to the Japanese.
Yeah, I think that's the problem with like new artists. They don't know how to harness that competitive or that rivalrous nature, because they'll see like for example, they'll see like another manga artist, and they're like, oh, I want him to fail so bad, and I want mine to do so well, but they don't want to improve their own art. So they're trying to tear down their opponent, but they're still standing still. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, that's a problem. You can be jealous in a healthy way. I think it's good to be jealous in a way of, when someone's your better, and it makes the reality of how much work you have ahead of you. But
exactly.
It's not good in the sense of thinking you need to ruin that person in order to excel yourself. And it is difficult to come up with good stories and good concepts, because we've seen everything done a million jillion times. And ultimately all stories really break down to one simple theme of like good versus bad. Like you've got one story and you got to figure out how to make it different. And it's going to be a challenge no matter what we do or how good we get. And I guess that's my point. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, you're so true. And like some stories are a lot of stories connect to the hero's journey, and it's like, well, the hero's journey is kind of like basic storytelling,
Yeah,
I guess you can correlate it with almost every single story out there in some manner. It doesn't mean it's wrong if you follow it, and it doesn't make you unique if you don't. I just think if you put passion into a project, it just makes it bloom. And that's the problem with like Marvel and DC now. People aren't idiots. We know the difference between being entertained versus being lectured.
Yeah.
They just can't comprehend that. And we know you're pushing an agenda. We're not dumb.
We went from
and some materials over. I don't want it from DC and Marvel.
When you were younger and you read that stuff, it was always about, what villain's doing what was the big, the big storyline. But anymore, it's about what's the big controversy and the what's the big statement. It's about statement now than it is the storytelling, and that's where,
Well, too, it's all modern age things, so it's like you're going to be dated in a month when this isn't a talking point on Twitter anymore.
Yeah,
exactly.
Doesn't have any legs.
You have to have timeless storylines. things that aren't reliant on what's going on in the here and now, because it's not going to make any sense to people in the future unless it's such a historical event like World War II or something like that, to where we grow up learning about it. We're not going to grow up learning. The next generation is not going to be learning about diversity hires. They're not going to be learning about race theory, because it's silly, and enough of the average person pays no attention to it. There's a lot of loud screamers. There's a very small minority of people that actually apply that stuff to their own children.
Yeah, and I shouldn't have to go to a Wikipedia article to know what the the artist or the writer is talking about.
No, you shouldn't. You should be able to get that exclusively from the story.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's just sad of how far they've fallen.
It is, but it's for the best in a lot of ways. It's the only way people learn, and it's the only way we get better as creators and as human beings. And these companies, if this is the routes they want to take, let them fail, let them fall, let them learn the error of their ways, and it'll be a good reality check for them.
The problem is, I don't think they're going to learn. I mean, I think they would burn down the whole house before, they admit they're wrong.
When they're hitting their early 40s and they're guys that got hired on right out of college to Marvel and DC, someday it will occur to them how stupid they sounded. Every one of us can look backwards to when we were 18, 19, 20, 21, that range, and realize I had lefty liberal thoughts and I didn't even realize it. So those things sounded good because my brain wasn't developed enough to critically think it all out. There are some people that did, but it's rare. And I think that's a big part of age is as you get older, you learn more about real life in the real world, and your perceptions change. Everyone starts liberal when they're 18. By the time they're 38, they're usually conservative and hating the tax man. It's just a life reality. And if they're not, it's because they're a boomer that's in denial and thinks that the summer of love was something special when it was really just pure degeneracy. And most of us look down upon it and are embarrassed by those people.
Yeah, wisdom comes with age.
Mm-hmm.
I had to bring up the Ahsoka because I know Matt's just dying to talk about Ahsoka.
Oh,
that's Ahsoka.
You know what? I never even seen the cartoon like with her on it before. Maybe
really?
once, but
Well,
I saw I saw the show, and it looked like the character like almost exactly like her, and I thought it was pretty cool.
I was kind of wondering how that was going to work because I watched Clone Wars, the cartoon, but for I know Mandalorian has brought in a lot of fans of Disney and maybe just the moviegoers. They don't watch the Clone Wars, so I was kind of wondering how Ahsoka looked to them coming in, like if they were just confused, like, am I supposed to know who this orange chick is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I know you wanted to make that a talking point, so I had to bring her up for you.
Yeah, it's about damn time. Took them long enough.
Man.
How many years?
Well, they've been
12?
crying. They've been crying about female characters for Disney forever. I'm like, Ahsoka, one of the big characters that's been around for what, at least. When did the original movie come out?
In 2008.
Yeah, so 2008 we've had Ahsoka.
Oh.
I mean,
because the male audience actually likes her. That's why.
Because it's a well-written character.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with like the gender as much as she's just a badass. So
write women well, and everybody will love. We love anything that's written well. That's the moral of the story. It does not matter what's between their legs. Just write the characters good, and we will love them.
Now, I will get to a couple of spoilers, so we might lose some viewers. They're probably like, no. But Matt, you did see it, right? You already watched.
Oh yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
Okay. But I think the thing that drove me crazy about Ahsoka was when they brought the child, or the Mandalorian. I thought his whole mission was just to kind of to see the character off, right? To find a Jedi. And he didn't even explain to her the whole like reality of this child to her. He was just like, I need somebody to train this kid. And she's like, it's not me. I'm like, what? Wait a minute.
She got time for that.
Well, my thing is, you didn't even like explain the whole like because the weird thing is that they had a big name drop, which was what's his name, Thrawn.
Thrawn.
Oh,
well, yeah, they name dropped Thrawn, so she's after Thrawn. So I'm sitting thinking, all right, she's looking for Thrawn, and here's this big conspiracy of like, or this little Yoda kid that might be tied into that. And she just kind of walks away from it like it's not her responsibility. I'm like, how is this not your responsibility? They're talking about using this kid's DNA. And the episode before that, they kind of put that together, right?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, look, there's cloning, and they're going to use this child for
little Snokes.
little Snokes and all this big stuff. And the Mandalorian didn't even explain it. He's just kind of like, I need somebody to train this kid. I'm like,
he's like, here.
Yeah, and the fact that she didn't even take the responsibility, she's like, you know what, us Jedi's really did screw everything up, and we don't have time to fix any of our messes, not even this one. Like she couldn't take the. I mean, I don't know. I get a little nitpicky with the show. Like I love it, but I hate the open ending every single episode has had. Like it's a lot of fan service. I'm like, come on, man. At least have Ahsoka in it for a little bit. Maybe she like at least takes them there. You know.
They're putting a lot of stuff in the water. It seems like a lot of different,
Yeah, because she pretty much tells them to or tells the Mandalorian to take the child to pretty much a mountain, sit up on the mountain and wait to see if a Jedi responds, like a beacon. I'm like, okay.
Maybe it's Luke Skywalker's gonna be up there or something.
Yeah. But it's still a good episode. Other than that, I mean, like I said, it was really cool seeing her live.
Yeah.
I love seeing the what's the Mandalorian armor called? The metal.
Oh.
Adamantium.
Vibranium.
Baska or something with a B, right? I don't know. But she had that the villain of the episode. She had the staff. And so it's so cool seeing that it actually reflects lightsabers.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Which I noticed. They have you noticed since I can't remember if it was the last movie or the one right before it, they stopped calling lightsabers and they keep calling them light swords.
Yeah, light swords.
It drives me insane.
Yeah, it's kind of
there was a reason for that, wasn't there?
I know originally George Lucas originally called them light swords, but his wife was like, "That's stupid." So they went with lightsabers, and there's a good reason because lightsabers. I mean, now they call them laser swords now. Like they're your laser sword. I'm like, God, that sounds like it's almost like when you're explaining your passion to Star Wars to like a girl, like your girlfriend who's not into Star Wars, and they're like, what is that show he likes with the laser swords? You're like, it's a lightsaber.
Yeah, right.
It makes you cringe when you hear it. Oh my God.
Yeah, because I can't remember who called it this episode, but somebody called it that, and it drove me insane.
Well, why generic it up? That's the whole reason Star Wars has been such a big sci-fi fantasy success is because so much sci-fi is generic, lame, and terrible. It's Star Trek, despite its great writing, there was too much generic, and it just turns off a huge swath of people. And that's the problem. Babylon 5. It's the writing was great, but no one can take it seriously because of all the generic sci-fi. So Star Wars kind of got you away from that by having cool stuff with cool names that was fun to look at, and we don't need to regress on that. We've had enough regression with the Disney films as it is. The Mandalorian is our first thing we've got out of Disney that's truly felt like Star Wars.
It's probably the only thing that's keeping Disney like
afloat
when it comes to like their stream. Because like it was cool for like a week, but like really if it didn't have the Mandalorian, you're kind of like, well, would I really keep this streaming network? If you have kids, it's worth it because you just throw in some cartoons or something.
Yeah.
But for the adults,
so many DuckTales reruns before I'm like, okay, I remember it all now.
Yeah.
I like the gargoyles.
The other thing I have with this is the fact of we introduced bringing Boba Fett back. We got a taste of that. And then
God, here we go.
No, it's not against Boba Fett. It's just the fact that we introduced Boba Fett, and then we introduced like the black armor a couple episodes ago, or the last episode before this, right? Was when the black armored people came in. And then right before that, you had the Mandalorians with their goal. And now you have Ahsoka. And I'm kind of wondering, like, okay, because I was like, well, maybe they're going to make a sideshow of Boba Fett. And then Ahsoka's going to get her story of going after Thrawn. I'm like, but I thought the next thing was supposed to be Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
There's no way they're going to do like 5 shows. So I wonder how much of this is just fan service and we're not really going to get anything out of it besides the episode that you see, like, you know, Boba Fett just kind of like look at you and walk off screen. You're kind of like, oh, okay. And
winks at the camera.
I will, you know what, JB? I will go to a little bit of a rant about the Boba Fett. Nothing against Boba Fett. I can't remember if I covered this last time. We was talking about this at work because that's what we do. We just yell at each other about Star Wars all night. We do. But how the hell did he lose his armor? Like, did the what's it called? The Sarlacc pit. Oh. Did the Sarlacc pit like suck the armor off of him, and he just came out in his trousers?
Yeah.
Like, why is he losing it? Or why is he missing his armor in the first place?
Like, I can't tell you that. In the original, in the book canon, before Disney scrapped all that, he escaped with degraded armor. Like, a certain amount of the armor protected him from the digestion. So his armor was pretty roughed up, but it was still pretty much in one piece. He was still pretty much Boba Fett. How they excuse that away, I'm not exactly sure. I'm sure Disney will contrive some gay answer to
that. And then he waits. He waits all these years for another Mandalorian. Even though I don't think Boba Fett's a Mandalorian, I was kind of getting into that a little bit last night. But they just have the Mandalorian armor, right? Boba Fett. Like, it came from Jango Fett type thing. I think I don't think any of them were Mandalorian, at least canon now. But how was I getting at? Yeah, the armor. I don't know. What am I talking about now? I got sidetracked by Aaron. Like, I saw Aaron's post that says Jango Fett must not. I was like, you know what? He did get beheaded with the armor one, so I don't know if it was, but I think they get cut in the neck. Yeah, it's the neck. You know, so maybe the armor doesn't go up. They need like face shields for lightsabers.
Yeah. People can say Boba and his father were not Mandalorians. In my opinion, they are, because that's the lore we've been given for the last 30 years. Right. Is that these people are rare. They hardly exist anymore. And this is the last remnants of it. And Disney can say whatever they want. I don't take Disney seriously because so far outside of The Mandalorian, all they've done is ruin great lore and been a complete dumpster fire for Star Wars. And this was the most, you could not, even George Lucas's prequels, even despite the negatives of those, you could not kill the marketing machine that was Star Wars. And somehow, some way, Disney found a way to push people away from Star Wars. Because even the most hardened fans put up with the prequels, and even though they complained about it all day, they still had a room filled with prequel toys from ceiling to floor because the general concepts were still cool, even if
I love my Darth Maul, man.
I love the prequels.
Don't get me started with Maul.
I love it more than the first 3.
Dude, I'm so jaded with what happened to Maul in Rebels. Do you guys know what happened?
Man,
I haven't seen it.
I thought it was so weird that like it had this whole big arc in Clone Wars, which was really awesome. If you get a chance, you guys, to watch that, he has his brother Savage.
Dude, it's amazing.
Yeah, man, that whole story arc. Even if you could just pick out, because I think it's in like maybe season 4 or 5. It's later on.
Yeah, it's like right in the middle somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool story. But yeah, you have all that, and then you get to Rebels, which I haven't finished Rebels, but I know he kind of teams up with what's the kid? What's the name kid? Azra, maybe?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Ezra.
They have a small story in it, and I did get to the part where, Darth Maul finally meets his end. Yeah.
Oh, you saw the episode?
Yeah, and it was so, I'm like, really? You have all, you build him up again in the Clone Wars to have such a weird final moment. Like,
it was horrible. Because people compare it to like Japanese movies. They're like, oh, it ends so quickly. It's so majestic.
No,
you have a
it's
25-minute episode, and 22 minutes of it is Ezra walking through the damn desert, not knowing where to go. And then you have Obi-Wan and then Darth Maul, and that's how it ends.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you spent all this time, you brought him back from the dead, because at that point, canonically, he was dead after episode 1.
Yeah.
You give him the spider legs, you bring him back to life, only for him, you could have just had something a lot cooler than what that episode was.
Well, especially since, I mean, maybe Darth Maul is supposed to be, getting tired and all that stuff, because he's been chasing Obi-Wan his whole life, pretty much. But I'm like, I don't know, man. I thought there's going to be a little bit more rage, a little bit more battling going on. It's kind of neat how, like, that the scene happens and then it goes to, like, the whole, like, Luke. So, like, it literally takes place right as New Hope starts, in a sense, but I don't know.
Yeah, that part was a little fan service.
Writing in Star Wars, though, is they give you a moment that you remember fondly, and they're like, "See, remember this fond moment? See, we made it all connect." And you're like, "Yeah, but this is just trash filler. It's not well written. Like, make it connect well instead of these cop out things where you're relying on a character we already know and like to fix what." Dude,
when he showed up in Solo, the Solo movie, I was like, oh snap! That was like one of my favorite parts, man. To seeing him back on like the live, because I was hoping. I mean, I'm one of those people who did like the Solo movie, so I was really hoping to have another one. That way we can get the what is, I can't remember what he called themselves, or they called themselves his organization during that time period. I hate trying to keep up with the time frames of what's going on in Star Wars at what time, but I don't know. It's when Darth Maul actually had like what they call like Red Sun or Black Sun or something like that. Maybe, I don't know, but his organization.
Yeah, I never saw the Solo movie. I heard it was like so bad. From other,
I actually I like it because I like it when things are a little bit more gritty in Star Wars, not clean.
Oh, okay,
if that makes sense. Because the original ones, it was everything was bulky, it was dirty. It wasn't really clean because with episode 1, 2, and 3. Obviously, George Lucas was like, I love the CG stuff.
The green screens.
so it, not that they're bad, but it's definitely a different take. So when Solo came out and Rogue One, both those, like, I just like the fact that they knew that the fans like practical effects as well. I mean, obviously you have your CG, but the fact that they mix it. And,
the cinematography is completely different.
Dude, one of the best parts of the Solo movie for me, so small, was Solo gets drafted. I think he drafts himself into the military to get out of the town he was in or something, if I remember. Yeah, and he's like on the battlefield, and like this general's like talking, mad crap, and like goes over he's like trying to get the platoon to like go forward, and I think AT I think is what took him out. Like it just blew up like that general, and I was like, and you see like Solo in the mud and like this little battle. I'm like, man, I want a whole movie of just Solo in the military, just in the mud. And yeah, man, it was Starship Trooper. It was.
I heard from a lot of people that Solo wasn't as bad as the other Disney films, but the problem was people were so soured by those that it hurt the chances of Solo. So I think that's the catch. Is a lot of us haven't watched Solo just because we are so soured on everything that came before.
Well, it came right off the back of episode 8. Everybody was like, "Oh my god, what is this crap?" So when Solo came out, it got the backlash of that episode or that movie.
Yep.
Was it even a full year after 8? Because I feel like it was like.
I feel like it hit like 6 months later, but I don't know. I could be wrong. Yeah. Don't quote me.
I'm not too sure. Yeah, I don't think we went through all 4 seasons.
You guys see
what is it?
You guys see Kyle Reese in the Mandalorian? Michael Biehn. He played a small role in there from the first Terminator. He was in this episode. Yeah, a lot of people didn't notice him either because he's kind of older now. He was like the guard he was one of the bad guys. He was like the associate.
Dude, that's so cool.
Hair. Dude, I remember I only saw like half of the new Terminator movie, and I remember when they were talking about when they were in developing of it, and they brought him back. Oh no, you're talking about Kyle. What's the kid? I'm thinking the kid Connor.
John Connor.
That's what I was thinking of. Man, when they talk about bringing that kid back for the new Terminator, and I'm sitting thinking, man, he's like older than me, so he's got to be like 40. So I'm like, how are they going to? But they kind of like did some CG and turned him to a kid.
That was funny, dude. That kind of ruined it.
He's in the movie for what? Like I don't know, 2 minutes.
Well, because his mom and him are like the back and or like the brain and the backbone of the franchise for me, and the heart too. It's Sarah and John, you know, and then Kyle if you really want to put him in there, you know. But I mean, then you got Christian Bale playing him, you got Batman playing him, and then you kind of regress to Edward Furlong. It kind of, I don't know, it was kind of hard for me to.
Oh, that one wasn't too bad.
Yeah, I didn't mind that one.
I liked it. I liked it. It was CGI heavy. Arnie wasn't that great, but I thought it was cool because it was the one that was in Judgment Day. You know, I always wanted to see a movie. You know, because you see the flashbacks in part 1 and 2 and 3, and then that movie kind of put you there. Could have been way better, but it was still.
Yeah, you wanted to be on full on action in the war and see all that.
Yeah, and I like the rubber T-800s. Those are cool too, with the rubber human flesh. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I got through like maybe half of the new one. Huh?
I said I'm indifferent about Terminator because the gaps have been so big between some of the movies and the quality levels have been so varying that
they go up and down.
It's like I just don't care anymore.
Oh
you
yeah.
know? Like, they could make Terminator films every year and I wouldn't give a flying fuck about any of them because it's outside of 1992. It's just not held up enough to keep me.
Well, everything keeps trying to grab a hold of the past with these actors, but I'm like, they're old. Give it up.
Yeah.
Like Sarah Connor's old. It's like when Harrison Ford came back for the last Indiana Jones. I'm like, even when he came back for what was the Force Awakens?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he can't even run down the damn hallway. You could tell he's an old man trying to run from a creature. He's just like, oh, you know, the CGI his ass running.
Hey, brothers, I gotta hop out of here. It was good talking to you all, Novoa. I wish you the best of luck with your book. It looks spectacular. I'll do my best to push it as well. And
thank you so much, man.
It will succeed. We just got to get it in front of some more eyes. Talk to Raging Golden Eagle for real, because that
I will.
Bump for you.
I'd at least go the next 30 days if you can, even if you don't think it'll make it. Just get those eyes on it, and then see if the numbers bump. And I mean, look, the Brick-a-Brack kid, he was on like his 3rd or 4th time at his campaign.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But he's adjusted. He's figured out, one, he started talking to a lot more people, getting a little bit more known around.
Connections and all, yeah.
Yeah. It did help. He dropped because he was going for like a 9,000 something campaign. He dropped it down to like 5,000.
Oh wow!
Which sometimes when people see, like, especially new creators, if they see a smaller goal, they I think they're more entitled or not entitled. They're more enticed to invest because the numbers reach a reachable thing for newcomers. They know
more achievable. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, well, if I put my 25 or whatever down, it might matter, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about a refund like a month later. But yeah, man. So if it doesn't make it, it doesn't mean it's the end. Actually, I want to talk to Sim. I don't know if you know Sim from I want to say Natverse.
Oh, I'm not too familiar with everyone. I'm horrible with names. I do try to write them down.
Yeah, the first time I think he launched Blood Hunt, it failed, but he came back and it pulled through, and now like Sim's on. Like, you see Sim everywhere. He's on like every channel.
Yeah, I have more respect for people who get back up on the horse than lay in the mud and weep about what happened.
Yeah.
And so I'm never going to give up on Abandon. If it doesn't work out, then I try something else. And
I always scare Joe off when I start talking Star Wars.
Oh.
Just always like, he's like, I get into the nerd stuff, I'm out.
But yeah, Joe, thank you so much if you're still here or if you listens in the background. Thank you so much for the kind words.
Yeah, so I guess we could wrap it up. It's been what, an hour and a half. Is there anything you wanna add?
No. I mean, like I mentioned before, my webcomic's free. I'm never gonna give it up. Um, I'm super glad people are reading it, and if you can't help monetarily, just please help share it as much as you can. I appreciate every single thing everyone's has been doing these last few weeks. It really is heartwarming. But yeah, I'm glad to call you guys my friends. I'm glad to get to know you guys.
Oh yeah, man.
Oh yeah, like I say, man. Like anytime you want to come on and talk nerd, I'm always game. That's why I always tell people like I don't, doesn't matter to me. We don't have to always talk everybody's comics if we don't feel like it.
Yeah, I would love to, man. Like I said, I'm a little awkward in the beginning, but once you get to know me and I open up a bit, yeah, I won't be able to shut up.
Yeah,
I wish I wasn't on.
I'll try to get you on Chris's show as well, Chris Evans on the Morning Roast. I'll send him a message. So,
that would be awesome. I'm running that down.
Yeah,
it's fun. It's a fun show. It's really fun.
I love this community so much.
He's definitely better at going over the campaigns than me. I think I'm horrible at it. So,
but you did great. Mothman's funded, right?
Yeah, man, we're funded. What do we have?
How's Mothman doing?
Good. Like I said, I put up those Jason Bascom sketch card bundles where it comes with the whole Mothman mania and all that, and already sold.
Really well?
Yeah, sold 2 of those. Got 1 left. That's another thing. The more you get into CG, as a kind of a strategic thing as well, as you make friends with people, but also see if like, hey, do some neutral stuff with them. Like, you mind if I do a piece for you? That way, because CG community, there's certain artists that will draw eyes as well. Even if your project may not be down their particular taste, you get somebody on there that they know, they still might jump on it and give it a chance, And you know how that goes. Comics and stuff are. You get that first one, you read it, and you're like, that second one comes out. That's all it takes. At least get that first issue in their hands, even. So if you got to use a big name or an artist to kind of help boost getting it in their hands,
yeah, you got to.
That's been my strategy. I mean, I only got like a $3,000 like campaign, so I mean, I'm just talking out my ass, but. But it's helped. It has helped drive my numbers. Hiring on certain people, because like when I came into CG, I was in for like about a year, and I just kind of watched the channels, see who people gravitate to, like and it helped me kind of decide who to reach out to and talk to about doing a print or whatever.
You're testing the water, seeing what people like.
Yeah. Now it might be a little harder for you because I know you're doing an anime, so you might have to if you get a chance, check out. I can never say her last name, Carla Talanili, something like that. Look up.
You guys mentioned Carla.
Yeah. She's really into the anime stuff. That's what, or the manga, and I mean,
she worked on Witch Hunter, right?
Yeah, Witch Hunter's their new. Her and John's new project. So I mean, even if you get a hold of her for like a trading card or something like that, just to kind of help. One, it also gives you a reason to go on their shows, to talk about the art that they're working on for you, and just stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not like money hungry. I just want to continue drawing, and if I can find any way to keep doing that, and pay the bills, I'll do anything. But yeah, oh my God, this community is amazing. You guys are so friendly. I've made more friends this last month than I have like throughout my entire college year, or last 5 years of college or so.
Well, yeah, it's crazy when you first come in because you get a lot of people warning you about certain things, and you're kind of like, man, okay. Me, I sold kids chapter books at like conventions, so I'm used to like selling like 2 books at a time. So if I made enemies for saying Comicsgate, it didn't really hurt my sales much. Just say that. But coming into this, man, I'm looking at like, I got 55 people that, back my book, that, it's just cool to think 55 people is going to read something I created, you know. So
that's the greatest feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm in that same boat with you when it comes to, you know, it's not always about like the profit as much as just creating the product. And it's just cool that, you know, people's giving your product a chance, especially in this market where there is cheaper stuff. They can easily go to it. So when you get a backer, man, you know, you really appreciate the fact that they're investing in you.
Yeah, because like the normal person will go into a comic book shop, they're like, oh, $3 or $4 for this comic. And then you look at Comicsgate, like $25. What are you doing with all the money? It's like no. It's like you're backing someone. You're like, you know.
I do find that. Yeah, I find that kind of a thing with Comicsgate. Some of the community might, you know, especially when you get into the Twitter stuff. I avoid a lot of it when people start harassing like CGers and like, I can't, you know, it's a $25 book. I'm like, well, I know CG uses it as a marketplace at the same time, but it is for backing a project. It's investing in something so they can make it, because we are independent creators. You know, we have underground. There's a reason like DC and Marvel are $2.99. You know, they have one, you know, a whole history. They got factories. They got, you know, printers. That's theirs. We have to pay for all that. You know, as a writer, you know, I had to pay for every single bit. You know, so
you know. That's tough being an artist. The crazy game of things, and I'm used to like all the drama and like in the anime community, because we have all the anime titties that people lose their minds about.
See, Piper gets it.
Yep.
Which I can't wait for Peregrine. I'm just saying, I can't wait.
I'm just so happy that all these. Oh, what's that?
So I backed she has a Preston Azevedo cover, and I was like, well, I gotta get that one.
Yeah, Preston cover is bad. That painting.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Did the original painting go in their campaign? Probably did at this point. I haven't looked at I haven't looked at the Peregrine campaign for a while since. I mean, I backed it, so if I get like an update, I'll check it out.
I'm happy that all these campaigns are doing so well. Like with Rainbow Brute doing so well today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that quickly?
Yeah, go ahead. Might take forever to bring it up on.
That makes me really happy, considering that like it's driving people nuts that like hate Comicsgate, and it's like another notch to say to like the DC and Marvel, do what the fans love, and don't push that agenda anymore. And we're just increasing those numbers a little bit higher and higher to prove our point. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I guess that Preston piece is still there.
Wow.
I'm surprised. To be honest, I'm actually pretty surprised about that.
Yeah, the Rainbow the Brute looks pretty awesome, though. I'm definitely gonna back it later. I love how he's just taking the whole concept of changing like things around and making them masculine, just put them on their head and using the '80s like cartoon characters, and it's funny. And yeah, man, it looks like an awesome campaign. There's a lot of like fan art out there about it right now on for Comicsgate, probably more than Cyberfrog or just as much. But I don't know, man. I like it a lot. It just reminds me of like, you know, kind of like Lord of the Rings and He-Man and, you know, all the other, obviously, the stuff he's spoofing.
Yeah, I love it. That's just what we need.
Oh, for sure, man. It's like kind of when you back that, you're kind of like giving a finger to like everything else. You know what I mean? That's the way I see it. And on top of that, it's going to be an awesome book with beautiful artwork. And there's three books in the campaign. You got Rainbow the Brute. Then there's My Girthy Stallion, which is like a play on the other one. And then I think there's like a cool story, bro, where it's gonna be a bunch of like stories written and illustrated by different CG creators.
That's awesome.
You could back like a $200 like lunchbox, a metal one that comes with like everything in it that's in the campaign. Oh, you know, kind of like his other frog box, his honeycomb box, and
that's so cool.
Planet box. I mean, I don't have the money for it, but you know, if I had like spare money I'm sitting around, I would definitely get that, you know. But yeah, it looks like a cool campaign. There's a lot of really
it's
good.
It's right, Piper.
Nothing wrong with shilling.
I want to see. Yeah, man. I want to see Preston's stuff move. Like I said, he's one of my favorites in CG. So I like to see his stuff go. Go ahead, though. Sorry,
you know, he's an artist. You know, it's good to see that guy's stuff going. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. And like I said, I'm just so happy everyone's doing so well these days.
Yeah, you just got to keep going. Just keep
How's
pushing,
Butch
man.
Cleaver looking?
It's doing pretty good, man. I just sent off some files to the for the trading card, and hopefully I'll get the proofs back pretty soon. And yeah, man, I should be getting the cards pretty soon after that. I just finished up the head sketches, so I did a bunch of these already. So they're a little different than the one on the campaign. I figured I'd add some more ornamentation to the sketches, and they're on this Bristol board right here. So I had to order these. It's pretty cool, and then I have that on there so people kind of know it was out of a book that I drew.
Nice.
So, and these fit in the Gemini mailers pretty good. So I think that'll be pretty fun. And then yeah, I already got these trading cards ready to go, and the sticker right here, and then yeah, I've already been messing around with
stickers already. Oh, sweet.
Yeah,
I don't know if you had those printed out already or not. I can't remember.
Yep, these are good to go, and I got the I'm starting to look at mix them and seeing how many books I'm going to need to print. And yeah, I just got another backer. I got 2 people back the T-shirts too, so we're still chugging along.
Good.
Yeah.
You just came with the T-shirts last week?
Yeah, I think so. About a week ago. Yeah, I just put those on there, and yeah, it's doing pretty good. How's Mothman doing, man? I haven't checked the campaign out in like a week or so.
Yeah. Like I said, man, we're doing good. Like I say, I'm just glad that we
don't need to be shy about it.
Funding. Yeah, it made the funding thing. So hopefully the numbers hold. I got I'm on my last 30 days now. Got a couple of shows coming up. I'm trying to think.
You can put it in demand, right?
Yeah. Well, I believe after the next 30 days, right? Since
okay.
I did the whole 60.
Oh,
yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So,
but that's cool.
Like I say, we're gonna go. I mean, I got the colorist he sent me the flats a couple days ago, like some of the final ones. So he's just working on the highlights, lowlights, all the details. So, I mean, basically once he's done with that, I just sent it off to Adam to do the second half because he already did the first 12 pages of the lettering, so he just got to finish up the last. And I mean, I guess I'll be off to the printers. So, because I wanted to go in demand with it, and then be able to just start sending it out pretty much right after the campaign, ends. I think I said to March, but I'm hoping to have it in hands of people before March. But you want to have that little bit of a safety net in case something comes up. Because
you never know.
Yeah, all this is new to me. Like so as far as like the printers and stuff, I don't know. Because you gotta wait for your what do you call it, the prototype.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah.
Get that sent to you. So I mean, it's gonna take some time for them to do all that, make sure everything looks good,
and plus shipping and COVID and all. You don't know what's going to happen in between that time.
The holidays too are going to throw everything off, and you don't know what type of restrictions are going to happen.
I'm not looking forward to the post office though. Like, I have a backer from like Israel. I'm like, I wonder how that's going to work. But it's cool, man. I think that's another thing that's really cool about the backers, man. You're like, you get new ones and you see where they're from. You're like, dang, man, your book's going to be like everywhere.
Yeah,
it's like Australia, Canada. Oh my god.
Yeah, man, that's awesome.
I wanted to get one in South America, and I didn't get one. And then, bam! I think it was yesterday or the day before, I got one in I think in Puerto Rico, and I was like, "Fuck yeah, I got it one." I don't know. It's just kind of cool, man. Like just seeing them around the world,
I got you ranged up, right, Matt?
I don't know.
That way you can post your link to your.
Let me see. Campaign. I don't think I have the chat open.
Oh, man, that's what it is. If I was a good host, I'd probably have that already set up for you.
Oh, that's all good, brother.
That way people can check it out. So, but all right, man. Well, if you want to throw that in the chat before we go, let's do that. I think we covered about everything.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for the opportunity. I know I was really nervous, but you guys are awesome. You're cool.
Man, it's just one of those. Israel's cool. No trouble shipping.
Oh yeah.
Yoda is from. Yodam is
Nice.
from Israel. There we go. Yeah, I got you wrenched up. Okay, cool.
Oh, nice.
I thought
Thank you,
you
sir.
did. Yeah. I'll do the same thing. If you want, send something in the chat, Nevaeh, and I'll wrench you up. That way you can troll me and throw your links in the chat whenever we're on Sunday nights.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna try. Oh God, I'm not tech savvy.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh yeah, and Aaron has his murder weapon.
That looks bad.
Yeah.
I just got my more lethal, the one with the. Oh man,
Yeah.
And that was in black and white too. You know what I mean? We're talking about black and white, just to kind of circle back to that again.
It is too.
Yeah, and it's in a manga format, and it was awesome book. It was real quick, and I went back and read it twice just because there's lots of little things in there that I really liked. So I went back and reread it, and it was really cool. A lot of colored tones, grayscale, and it's just cool seeing black and white comics. You know what I mean? Again, your brain is gonna make colors, and certain things just, I don't know, they don't need color, I don't think.
Yeah, I have a little bias towards that. I love screen tones.
Yep.
Yeah,
I like the fact you did the manga size too. I love when something switches up a little bit.
Yeah,
you start getting some of these comics, and that's why I don't mind the black and whites or.
I don't either. Yeah.
When people play with certain things, it's just something new. I mean, look, you got Zayd Brothers with the Lost Pages. Now that you got this whole, they're testing the waters with having I don't even know how many stories is in that book at this point.
So
if you get both versions, there's probably at least 12 or more characters, right?
Yeah, I got them both.
But they're a perfect example too, man, to show growth. I can't remember how much Magic Cop did. I want to say it did do over 10.
I think so.
Right.
Yeah.
But, their new campaign, it might be up to about 30 at this point.
Yeah, something like that.
Wow. But it shows that they learned what works, maybe what doesn't work. I mean, they had so much. They put everything in. They threw everything in that book.
Yeah.
And they figured it out, man. So
it's giving me hope.
Oh yeah, man. Just keep having fun. That's the main thing is keep having fun and don't give up. I find that, and don't get discouraged. Because I've been discouraged too. I got lucky. Everybody's campaign is a different monster, and it's a different path that you're going to take. I put out my book in stores, and it was pretty successful. But when I got it into Comicsgate, now I'm getting it all over the place, and it's been pretty cool. And I've had a lot of people show interest in the property. And again, I haven't given up. And I created my character Butch Lever about 10 years ago, and I'm working on the second book now, and just don't give up and have fun, man. That's all I got to say. Keep it short.
That's amazing, man. Congrats. And yeah, my biggest discouragement is just, if I don't see progress in my art, because as an artist, I know what I have to fix, and that's how I've been progressing so far. Because I notice my failures and I learn from them. So yeah, it's just a matter of time, and I just gotta get people to look at what I've been drawing and get them excited.
Your art looks good, man. I'm not blowing smoke either. It looks good. Obviously, artist is gonna keep, like me. If you were to see in my book, you're gonna see each chapter is gonna look different. It's gonna get, I think, better. You know what I mean? I'm gonna keep hitting different hurdles and corners in my art, and hopefully storytelling and writing. And I could go back and redo my stories, but I'm just going to keep trying to make the next story better. And I've heard that from multiple comic book creators and people in the industry. Just don't go back. You're not going that way. Look forward. Keep making the next book better. You know what I mean? And your work is phenomenal. It's just there's not enough eyes on it right now. As soon as more eyes get on your book, you're going to get funded.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I think that we'll wrap up for tonight. So
awesome. Thank you so much. I had a fun time. You guys are funny. You guys are awesome.
So where can they find you?
Well, I don't go on social media too much. It's my bad. But you can find me on my Twitter. My Twitter handle is on the screen right now. It's at Devoche with an /. And of course, you can check my website out. I'll always update that. That's not going anywhere. and that's at devoche.com, DEVOCHE.com. I'm going to try to start up YouTube too.
Yeah, and they can go on there and read like the first like 2 chapters.
Oh, yes, sir. So, forgot the most important thing.
Yeah, so if anybody wants to at least dabble in and see what this is about, there's plenty of,
Yep, that's a free ride
there. Yeah.
Come join the bandwagon.
So yeah, definitely check that out. And Matt?
Yeah, if you guys want, you can find me on Twitter at Rune Cutter Comic, or you can check out my YouTube channel. It's Metal Movies and Brewskis. And yeah, thanks for having me on here, Shane. It was fun.
Yeah, man. As usual. You just did a review too, didn't you? I think a review.
Yeah, I did one on. Seven Legions by Michael Bancroft or Michael Beacon. Sorry, and that book was awesome too. And another one on More Lethal too. And he has a pretty cool campaign up too. It's open, and you can pretty much build like a build like a perk type thing for his shop. And his book's like, I think it's like $25 or something. It's pretty fat too. It's like 50 pages. So yeah,
that's really nice.
And the best thing about Matt's videos is he always finishes off with like a new beer. He always just like, at today's beer. It's cool because you always find a can that matches. I think the More Lethal one was the last one I did watch because it had like ninjas on it. I'm like, how do they keep getting all these craft beer at? Like,
hey, that's his brand. He's got to work with it.
Yeah,
keep doing it.
Yeah, man, it's cool. Yeah, well, thanks to everybody for tuning in, and we'll be back next Sunday. And don't forget to watch Morning Roast with Chris Evans because I'll be on there tomorrow. Yeah, say if you get a chance, man, we'll get you on there. And I'll message Chris to see what openings he has.
I'll message a bunch of people. I'll see what everyone's up to. Again, I'm introverted, so I'm gonna take my time with it. But
yeah, cool. All right, guys.
All right, chat. Have a good night.
Bye, everybody.
Peace.